Hello, me again. Just thought I'd give you a recap on rebuilding the forks on this Triumph Thunderbird 1600. My previous video I went through the component parts of the fork assembly, and also I discussed the modification that I've done to my forks to just hopefully provide some drainage in this piece here, because my frustration has always been that if you leave the bike outside or you wash it, the first time you take it down the road again, you get a load of water coming back up out the top of this shield because there's no drainage in it. So what I did, you can just see it there, is I've milled. What I really need is something to hold the camera. I'm trying to do it. So I milled a small relief here, but also a relief on the inside, on the seat shoulder, where this chrome trim sits, and hopefully that small hole there will just allow the fork to drain sufficiently once I've either cleaned it, or, like I say, if it's been stood out in the rain. Assembly was very straightforward. Apart from cleaning the tank on this thing, it's about the easiest job I've done. You start by putting the damper rod and the spring down inside the fork stanchion, and on the bottom of that there is an aluminium bushing, which is this piece here, number 17 on that drawing. Put that in, bit of lubrication on the fork leg, slide it down inside of the slider, hold it in the vise, and again I discussed this service tool that I made, which, as you can see there, allows me to hold the fork up in the vise without fear of gripping on the fork leg. I find it a very useful tool. I've had them in the past for other bikes that I've owned. So yes, tube goes down inside of the stanchion, bolt back up on the inside, fit new copper washers, sealing washers, a bit of Loctite, and I'm used, let's just see what that is, yeah, 243 Loctite on the thread. Screw it in. For that you need 12mm Allen key, fairly long reach. All I did was cut that off a standard Allen key, and it is what, just over 100mm, so it's 100mm long. Just sits in a standard socket, up into the bottom of the fork leg. So you can see, I mean, it doesn't need to be 100mm long. There's probably 20mm, 30mm sticking out the bottom of there. Tighten it up, torque it up to 45 Newton meters. That's that bottom bit done. Then stand the fork leg up, and for this I did just stand it on the bench. Fitted new oil seal, bit of lubrication around there, bit of lubrication on the outer, slid it down the fork leg, and for that I made this tool up, which just slides down over the fork leg, as you can see there, and it allows you to just drive the fork seal in. And the nice thing was, all I did was press that down with both hands, and that was enough to seat the oil seal. So once that was in place, the circlip goes on top, and then it's time to fit a new dust dust cap, dust seal. So again, I put a small amount of sort of grease on the outside of this thing just to stop it corroding up too much in the aluminium, and lubricated it, slid it down. And again, this tool is made, it's only a copy of what's in the manual, but it's made so you turn it round and put it on the fork leg that way, and it goes over that seal there, and just again, without, you don't have to hit it or drive it on, just push it down with your hand, and it seated the dust cap very nicely. So with that on, it's then a case of refitting the chrome cap. So again, I've put some, and I use this Optimal white paste white. I've used it on my BMWs for years. It's like an anti-seize compound that stops things fretting and seizing together. So I've rubbed, I did a copious amount around the shoulder on the top of the fork slider, and slid the cap on. And interestingly, in this instance, I actually used this tool to just slide down on top of the cap, and it allowed me just to drive it nice and squarely on with a rubber mallet, without damaging the top. I mean, this is made of aluminium, this is made of aluminium, so yeah, no damage, and it went on lovely, and the job done. So then it was just a case of filling it up with oil, and for filling up, what they say in the manual, it gives a volume of 677 millilitres, but then it goes on to say that the oil should be 106 millimeters from the top, fully, with the fork fully compressed. The oil level should be 106 millimeters from the top of the fork leg. And obviously also in the manual they show this tool here as a service tool for setting that oil level, as you can see there, look, 106 millimeters to this hole here. So I went up my local DIY store and got this aluminium tube here, which is 6mm diameter with a 4mm bore, and I made this end cap. But I mean, that you could make that out of a piece of wood if you I mean, unfortunately I've got a lathe, so I machined that up and drilled and tapped it 5mm, had this thumb wheel in stock, and it's adjustable, and put a hole there so that and the idea is that you once you get below that level, you suck air, and it sets the level of the fluid in the fork leg. So, and it worked quite well. I had this syringe in stock. I bought it from the Stafford Bike Show actually in October last year. So oil level set, the spring then goes inside, the a washer goes on top of the spring, then the spacer goes in, which is, well, you can see there, this is the washer, and this is the spacer. So if you look at the assembly here, you've got your stanchion, the spring goes inside, washer, spacer, then you refit the cap nut and torque it up to 30 Newton meters, and the job's done. So I am now hopefully this evening going to get these put back in the bike, get the wheel back on the bike, and we are just about there really. What else? I have Right, I'll just move that out of the way. Top cap is 24mm socket. There's nothing, most people should have that. Oh, what I did do just to verify my tool, I have this beaker, which is, you know, it's quite fine measurement on that. So with this measuring device here, all I did was set that to 106mm and stuck it in the top there, just to verify that my tool here was pulling fluid down to 106mm from the top of that level of that tube. So I figured if it was doing it on that, it would be doing it on the fork. Quick mention, I've been using these gloves this year. They are these Touch and Tough, Ansell Touch and Tough, and they are well worth. They're a bit more expensive than the things I have been using. They're about £12 a pack, I believe, but they're good. They are tough and they work very well. I've been using this pair here for the whole of this strip down and rebuild on these forks, and there's no way my original gloves that I've been using for years would last that long. I thought I'd just show you this as well. So for my service tool that holds the fork stanchion, it's a block of aluminium. It's 127mm long by 60 wide by 19 thick. It's got a 47mm, or 47.1 to give it a bit of clearance, bore, and then as you can see it's slotted so that with an 8mm cap head through it. So it's just got an 8 by 1.25 thread here and the clearance 8mm through this section here. And it was just a piece of scrap aluminium I had laying around in the workshop. The driving tool for the seal and the dust cap again is aluminium, and the dimensions on that are 61mm long, it's 61.5 on its biggest diameter and 57 on the smallest diameter. It's bored through to be a nice sliding fit on the fork itself. So again, what would that be? So 47.1. On the bottom side, to do the dust cap, again it's bored out to 57mm by 13mm deep, and the other end where it goes on for the oil seal, it's bored out to 50.7mm by 4.5mm deep, and that's just to allow it to, so it sits right on the edge of the oil seal and doesn't get anywhere near the lip. And the was there anything else on that? I think that's, oh right, yes there is. So the first shoulder from the base where it goes on to do the oil seal is 25mm, and then the next bit is 36mm. And then for the tool for doing the oil level, you are 200mm long, with its 4mm bore, and the hole is 29mm from one end. The other, the cap piece is 50mm diameter by 27.5 on the smaller one. That piece there is 4.5, the other piece 17mm. It's got a 5mm hole in it, and it's bored through 6.2, which gives you clearance on that tube, on the tube, to allow you to slide it up and down if you need to. Well, you will set it. And that's it. I'm going to get this thing built back up now. Thank you for watching. If you want to leave a comment, please do, and I'll catch you again. Bye.